Welcome back. This is Richard again. And you're not going to see much of this face for this video. That's because this topic is better if I show what's on the table. But first, let's talk about last week. So last week, I talked about the core gameplay of Dungeons & Dragons and how it's all about deciding that your character wants to do things and then determining how that works. So this week we're going to talk about how we determine how it works. And that is done with dice. Alright, so I apologize if there's going to be any noise in the background. It's kind of hard to get any privacy. But anyways, last week I did touch on the standard role-playing dice. And that is a set that goes from a D20, D12, 2 D10s, a D8, a D6, and a D4. If you ask for a standard role-playing set, you will get this. Now, games like Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder, they use this. Other games use different dice, and it's better to talk about those on an individual game basis. For now, we're going to be talking about Dungeons & Dragons. And as far as Dungeons & Dragons is concerned, each dice has its own function in the game for different reasons. Every die is important when the game goes into combat, because the game is built around characters and monsters using these die for different reasons. Starting with, of course, the die that everyone uses all the time, the D20. This is your I want to do things die, and this is based off of the rule that the game follows, wherein if your character wants to do anything that has any element of failure, you roll a D20 and figure out whether success is earned. Literally, I want to hit this guy with a sword. And that would be the time I roll on that one on video. I didn't script that. All right. Moving down the list. That die is for, just like I said, just the regular I want to do things die. Moving on, the D12 is a lot more situational, and you will probably never roll this die unless you build a character specifically for it. As far as game terms is concerned, this die is only used to determine hit points for the barbarian class, as well as to roll damage for a great axe. That's all you will find this die is good for. There's a couple spells for it as well, but that gets into game damage, into game balance. Alright, let's talk about the D100, or the percentile. Very situational, only useful for tables and lists. So, unless you're playing a character that uses a lot of tables, like a wild magic sorcerer, you're probably never going to use this, unless your DM wants you to. But the D10 is useful for hit die for a lot of different classes. Also, useful for damage for various different spells and some weapons. This die is useful and easy to build a character around. On to the D8, which is kind of the bread and butter for a lot of characters I build. So, D8 is most notable for damage die for a longsword. That means if your character is equipped with a longsword and you want to roll and you manage to hit an enemy in combat, you will roll your D8 to determine the damage. That's pretty terrible. I'm not rolling very good right now. Moving down, D6, also known as regular dice, is kind of middle of the road as it comes to pretty much all classes in 5th edition. They don't go any lower than a D6 for hit points, which is good because that means that no one's really going to die quickly. That being said, D6 is probably one of the more common things. Looking in the book, you find multiple spells that use multiple D6s for damage. And those D6s, they can add up. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. Lastly, D4. This one is going to be very useful to everyone playing rogues, because daggers are typically a D4 of damage. Yay, I didn't do a bad roll there. And that's pretty much the dice. And that makes this a short video for a change. Yay. So, now we're on to what I like to call the end slate, which, well, if you're tuning in again, you might know I did this last week. Not that, but this. The end slate. So, right here, this D20, it's not going to be a D20 forever. We're going to see an icon go over it soon, and you click that, and you'll be able to subscribe to the channel and see more videos in the future. Now, over here on the left side, I'm going to put a link to the first video I uploaded for the channel, just to entice you guys to see where it all began. And over here on the right, well, I'm not sure what's going to go there yet. I'm going to let YouTube decide. They're going to determine what you should look at based on your watching habits. So click one of those to keep following along. Click that die in the middle to stay tuned for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.